This episode is brought to you by FX's feud, Capote versus the Swans. Inspired by actual events, the series tells the story of Truman Capote and the women he betrayed. The original housewives. They were society's most elite women. Rich, glamorous socialites who defined a bygone era of high society New York. From creator Ryan Murphy, this drama series features an all-star cast, including Naomi Watts, Demi Moore, and Diane Lane. FX's feud premieres January 31st on FX Stream on Hulu.
Wake up your bedroom with these tips. Welcome to Decorating Tips and Tricks. I'm Anita Joyce with Kelly Wilkness. Bedroom refresh. This is going to be a good one if you're wanting to give your bedroom some fresh style.
Yeah, your bedroom should not only be refreshed, but you should feel refreshed when you leave your bedroom in the morning. So make it a sanctuary, make it a place of rest, a beautiful place for you to unwind at the end of a day. And we know everybody's days are busy. So we're going to give you some ideas today to freshen it up, make it the sanctuary that you deserve. And these tips are pretty easy.
I've got a lot of thoughts on this. So where would you like to start, Kelly?
I want everyone to think of their bedroom as this special place where, you recharge your battery. It shouldn't be the last place you think about in terms of decor. It shouldn't be a landing place for all the laundry. It shouldn't be a spot where things just get stacked up. It really shouldn't be a place where work gets done. If you can avoid that, if you've got any other space to have a little at-home office or desk, put it someplace else, not in your bedroom. Science tells you that. Psychology tells you that. Common sense tells you that. So I would start from there. If there's anything going on in your bedroom that shouldn't be going on in your bedroom, try to make that leave and go someplace else and find another place to do it. Find another place to fold the laundry and whatnot. And for years, I did that as well, especially when my kids were littler. So if you have a little kids, which so many of our listeners do, today might not be the day that you can reclaim your bedroom as a sanctuary, but keep it as a goal. It took me a long time to get there. It's still something I work on all the time because it is tempting just to, sort of chuck the laundry on the bed. And then I always remember at like 9:30 or 10:30 when I'm coming up to bed that I didn't fold any of it.
Well, usually, yeah, when you look at your bed, that's when you realize, I took the sheets off and I didn't put the new ones on yet.
It's the
and I'm too tired to do it now.
Yes.
Well, and what I'm thinking about what you're saying, Kelly, is if there's a lot of things that I agree with you there shouldn't be clutter and mess in your bedroom. This should be a relaxing place to go. But if you are forced with having some things in there that are kind of unsightly, I highly recommend that you get some beautiful fabric or wicker baskets, some sort of storage option to put that stuff away. So at least it's just not all sitting out, because that really does cause stress, and it can really drive up your cortisol levels. It does affect your health, and it's really important, especially in your bedroom, that it be relaxing.
Yeah, you don't want to have the first thing that you see when you open up in your eyes in the morning is that pile of laundry or those files you need to go through or things like that. So, it's again one of those things that's easier said than done. But really, if that's going on in your room, take a hard look before you get going on the decor tips that we're going to give you today. Make sure that you've kind of cleaned the slate of the bedroom, and what's going on in there is for sleeping, for relaxing, for unwinding, and for a little self-care rather than chores.
Right. And a lot of people like to change their bedding up, darker, heavier fabrics for the winter.
You can have 2 or 3 Euro size ones. And then in front of it, you can have 2, like say 20 by 20 decoratives, and then maybe a lumbar. And maybe all you ever switch out are the 2 20 by 20s and the lumbar. So really you can, in a sense, change the look of the room dramatically by just changing those 3 pillow covers.
That's right. And, I keep a neutral oatmeal colored long drop linen bedspread on my bed year round. But what I change out is what's folded up at the foot of the bed. For the winter, I actually do a duvet folded up at the foot of the bed. Rarely is it cold enough for us to actually use a duvet, but I really like a little something folded up at the foot of the bed. And then I kind of match my pillows on the bed with whatever thing I have at the foot of the bed. And that's what I change
You're
out.
going to be surprised to hear that I do the same thing. So,
Stop it!
yeah. So in addition to the pillows that I was talking about, which you probably have pillows too, I know you do. It just takes a couple of minutes. You unzip the covers and zip the other ones on, and then you're done.
Yeah, I actually still have a brown velvet bed skirt from when I had the red bedroom.
Yeah.
When I had everything in red. So I still have that. But, it was such a nice piece. I'm just saving it for, at some point I thought, oh, I might want to use it for some reason. It was just really, not cheap. So I'm keeping it.
Yeah. And you could work that in with your neutrals and things like that.
I think so.
Yeah. So if you have a base like that, then it is so easy to switch it in and out. You just kind of how we're saying, if you have a neutral base throughout your home, it's so easy to switch it in and out. So your bed is sort of akin to your sofa or, any of the other rooms that we're talking about, and having you just be able to take one puzzle piece out and put another one in and really change the look. So now
it's interesting you say that, because I was just thinking my rug is neutral, the chairs and the bed are all neutrals, but the room is full of color because I've added the throws and the pillows everywhere. So, and the artwork. And that's so easy to change that out. And that's a great way to be able to completely change out your look with the seasons if you want.
Yeah. If you have one of those bedding sets where everything matches, maybe this is the season where you decide to take one of those pieces out, put that away for a little while, and mix in a solid or mix in a coordinating fabric. Like if you've got florals, maybe you do a stripe or something like that. I would suggest you break up that set, even if that means just throwing bed scarf at the end. Now, I think the bed scarf is something that we should talk about because it's kind of like a weird item. I'm strangely drawn to them, but I think they're kind of dumb at the same time. So I'm not really sure how I feel about them, but it's a very inexpensive way to change up a look. Less money, less commitment. So if anyone's not familiar, a bed scarf is kind of like everything we've been talking about, whether it be a throw or a quilt at the end of your bed, but it's really just one layer in a sense. It's not, you don't need to fold it because it really is only maybe.
It's like 2 feet.
I was going to say 24 to 36 tops. And usually it would have some sort of ending, like a ruffle or something at the end. And it just kind of lays at the end of your bed. So just as
you know what it looks like? A table runner.
Good. Yes.
I think that's kind of what it is. And I'm
a table runner for your bed. That would be one of the things that Peter would be like, and what? And where do I, like when I take the pillows off there, like, where do I put this? Where's this?
What
do I
is
wrap
this?
I'd see him like come out of the shower with it wrapped around his neck like a real scarf. Like, what do you do with this thing? Why is this scarf on my bed?
Well, I know. And the thing about the bed scarf, I get it because I really like a little blast of color or a blast of interest at the foot of my bed. My problem with the bed skirts is they feel a little skimpy to me. Yeah. And I just really want it to have a little bit of bulk. And what I have at the foot of my bed now is really this French bedspread, or actually, I think it's actually, to be honest with you, it's a linen sheet that's French. But it's folded up, so it has a little bit of heft to it, not a lot. But I feel like I want something that looks like it's big enough to have spread across the entire bed, even if it really isn't. So I think if the bed scarf looks too skimpy, I'm really not crazy about it. But if it's at least maybe folded once, then I could go for it.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. That's true. And I think maybe the fabric would play into that too. I saw something recently. I took my daughter to this really cool new area in LA called DTLA The Row, and they took over all these old factories that were just completely in shambles and made this really interesting destination spot for restaurants and shops, and they have events down there and stuff. And they just had the really coolest home stores. And they were showing bed scarves in this one shop, and they were mohair, which I'm attracted to, but it's probably like a little itchy. It wouldn't be like, I would not.
But see, that's got a little more thickness to it. That makes a little more sense to me.
Yeah. And that they were showing those, and they were probably somewhere like 30 inches wide at the end of the beds on linen, the really lovely textured linen that we adore. It was all monochromatic. So one was just this really lovely rose-colored pink, and then they had some grays and this beautiful, beautiful blue. And it was just really, really pretty. So even if you had something like that, like say you had an old blanket, I have some that I've picked up that are kind of odd. You're like, is it a shawl? Was it a blanket? It's kind of a weird shape. That could be something just to try at the end of your bed.
Well, what you're bringing up too, I think is something very critical, especially if you have a neutral room. And that is to add texture to your room. It adds depth. It adds interest. You want something that has a little more texture. You don't want everything to be the same exact fabric. So the mohair, I can just picture all that beautiful texture and thickness to it and softness on top of a linen duvet or whatever they had underneath it. And so to me, that is kind of the epitome of different textures put together. And so I think that's really something that isn't talked about a lot, but it really adds so much depth to a room.
Oh, yeah. Different textures, different fabrics that all work together is really the ideal way to do it.
Exactly. And another thing I want to talk about is this artwork above the bed, because I really think this is a lot harder to get right than it seems.
It is because of the complication of the headboard.
Well, there's the headboard, and then, I think it's like the rug thing. I think people feel like, I know the bigger would look better, but I can't afford that. So I'm going to get the smaller one. Mm-hmm. And so people end up with something small above their bed, and it's not quite right scale-wise. So instead of getting something bigger, they go, I'm going to add some more there. And then it's all cluttered. Then there's too much there. And it just doesn't look right. So I think it's really important to kind of look at that scale. And quite frankly, I'm fine with the look of nothing above the bed. And I'd rather see nothing than really something maybe sized inappropriately. So I don't know how you feel.
You don't want to do anything inappropriate in that bedroom. Be careful where you tread. No, I agree. And if you're going to go really small, if you're going to be really, really small, like do something really purposely small, like that's really mirror. On purpose. Yeah. This is a really important piece of art or something like that. But that just something that's sort of like mid-sized and wrong.
Mm-hmm. No, slightly too small. And you're like, what?
Yeah. And then it's so, should I add something on one side? Or maybe I should add something on the other side. And then all of a sudden you have all these things.
Right. Yeah. But it's hard to get something even that big. So sometimes you can get a big plaque or something. I used to have a big plaque above my bed, and then I changed it out for 4 botanical prints that were about that size, that are about the width of my bed. But you could go with 2 large kind of coordinating canvas prints. I've seen that done beautifully, or 1 large one, or even 3 that kind of go together. But now that once you go to 3, it's really hard to find 3 that kind of work together. So it's easier to find 2 or just to go with the 1. This is a great place to add something dramatic, something with some color and something really striking. So don't overlook this as a real opportunity to add some personality to your room.
And if you do want the 3, search for triptychs, which is, definitely would hone your Google search, triptych art. So that's going to be art purposefully in 3 pieces. I
have that actually above Elise's bed. Mm-hmm. It's actually, it was like they took 1 painting and then put it on 3 canvases. So they were meant to go together, obviously.
Right. Instead of trying to find 3 things that are like, 3 botanical prints, but I'm not, if you don't like the colors, or you're like, they only have 2 kinds of flowers, you don't want to have a repeat or something like that. Another thought for air quote art above your bed is to actually create something on that wall that would act as some interest and also the headboard. So it really would depend on the style of your room and the way it's set up and where your bed is placed. But if that wall that your bed is on can sort of handle this, if there's like, a natural end to the wall and doesn't have any maybe additional doorways or something like that, if it's just solid wall, you can adorn the wall with planking, shiplap, horizontal, vertical. You could do some of the adhesive wallpaper. You
Louvered
could even
doors.
do. Yeah, I was thinking in a room, so oftentimes bedrooms, even if it is the master, it's just kind of like a square room. And so if it's just a square, that's kind of boring, right? So what you could do is you could do wainscoting around the entire room, like the flat board kind, or you could do the beadboard kind. And if you did it high enough where it came above the mattress, when it came behind the bed, then you know how that would have a natural molding on the top of it, sort of a small ledge. You could add a shelf over that portion that was above the bed, and then you could lean art there, or you could put family photos there.
Just be careful it doesn't fall on you in the night.
Yeah, definitely attach
you got to bolt
somehow.
It on some way. Right.
So that would bring interest to the entire room and then obviate the need for a headboard.
Here's an idea for a headboard and art at the same time, is to hang a rug back there. A really beautiful rug. You can just hang it back there. There's your headboard. There's your art. Boom, you're done.
That's a great idea. Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT.
Another thing that I think about for a bedroom is this is where you're getting ready for the day. So I love the idea of having a nice, beautiful mirror in here that you can use for getting ready. And I always like to add this tip. Make sure it's kind of leaning against the wall, bolt it, somehow attach it so it's not going to fall over and hurt anybody. But if you lean it where the top is closer to the wall than the bottom, it's going to make you look thinner when you look into it.
Wait, let me write that one down again. What is it? That's a good one.
Yeah, but what a great way to add something really beautiful to your room too. And I like that, I don't have to actually hang it on the wall. So you don't have to put in the heavy, bolts in the sheetrock and everything. So just something to keep it from tipping forward. That's a lot easier to do.
Yeah, it is, because I really worry about hanging big, heavy things, particularly since I have a lot of the lath and plaster walls. It's really a chore. So that's a nice option. There are a lot of great leaning mirrors out there. We're talking about breaking up sets of bedroom bedding, but also if you have furniture that's matching, this is a great time to rethink that. Really gone are the days when rooms are decorated that way. In fact, kind of when you see like those things that come like the penny savers, or just those little newspaper things that come in the mail still, which boggles my mind. That's a whole nother thing, why you still get that junk in the mail. But, and it's always like bedroom set, $1,300, and everything matches. The headboard's the same color as the two end tables, and then there's a dresser, and then there's another dresser with a mirror. Like, no one's really decorating like that anymore. So if you want to freshen it up, a good idea is to take one or more of those pieces out. So the easiest ones to take out would be the nightstands, and just change them up to something different. Maybe a mirrored table, maybe something with glass, maybe a garden stool, depending on what your needs are for
a
bedside.
rolling cart, a dresser, a chair.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that you can use. You really are, and just any kind of table, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a great idea. And again, it's just going to make it so personalized for you. You don't want people to walk in and say, and it to feel like a furniture showroom.
Mm-hmm.
When I first got married, I thought, what's the problem with that? Because I thought, well, that looks so much better than what I have. I'd rather it look like than a furniture showroom than not. But now, I realize, it's kind of impersonal, and it doesn't, show the personality. So that's why you want to kind of mix it up and show some creativity. And that's the kind of thing that you'll really enjoy, that you came up with this creative thing to add to the room. It's fun to do, and you'll just smile every time you look at it. And I think it just makes for a better put together room. And it's like you said, Kelly, it's just not what's done now. Another thing I'm thinking about, if you have wood floors or tile floors, it seems like not a lot of people do the rug under the bed. And I think it's because it feels like it's such a waste, because so much of the rug is not seen under the bed. But I think it's really something worth trying, because if you do have a rug there, it adds really so much interest to the room, especially if you have kind of neutrals. I love the idea of having kind of a simple fabrics on the bed, but then having kind of a more patterned or colorful rug underneath. I think that's a beautiful look. I've been looking at rugs for this project I've got going, and found some pretty good buys. I think you and I both bought from overstock.com. For rugs, and they've got some pretty deep discounts on some of them. Yeah, so you might be surprised, especially if you do sisal. I mean, that's going to be not as expensive.
I think also those family photos.
You're going to tell people to dump them?
No. I think it's a great place for them.
Okay.
We talked about
making me nervous there.
No. We talked about the family photos. So about how maybe you wanted to unify the frames, and instead of having 14 of them, maybe you have 3 or 5 or something like that. Well, maybe if you took some of them out of your living room, move some of them into your bedroom. It's the perfect place for personalization. So think about those, or black and whites would be great, grouped together. Even over your bed could be great if you had a number of them, which would fill that space.
Yeah, I think that's a great place. And I was just thinking too, when we were talking about the bed skirts, there's so many different bed skirts now. So I think sometimes people get bored with that. That's kind of the thing that people put on their beds, and they don't think again about it for a long time. I mean, I realized that I had this bed skirt because it doesn't show when the bed is made. But
right. So not to just everybody's listening, we were talking about the bed scarf before, the potentially controversial bed scarf. This is the bed skirt, aka
or the dust ruffle.
Dust ruffle. Right. Anita does not like dust ruffle.
Well, I don't like that term because it just implies that it's dusty.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not. Maybe you're a better housekeeper than I am.
And it also
isn't dusty.
Let's just get rid of that whole term, because maybe you don't have a ruffle. Maybe it's a tailored dust ruffle, and then it's really not a ruffle at all.
That's why I like the term bed skirt also. But that's what I was going to suggest. If you go look, you probably have a ruffled bed skirt on there right now. And now the more tailored ones are in style. So I bought a linen tailored one that has the ties on it. It's so charming. It was such a fresh look. So, I mean, this is an easy way too to kind of change out the look of your bed, is to kind of change out that, a bed skirt or dust ruffle. And actually the ones I got for the girls' room, for my daughter's room at the group home, I got some cotton voile dust ruffles or bed skirts, and they are ruffled, but the voile means it's a lighter fabric, and it's a much fuller ruffle than a normal ruffle.
Oh, pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a nice thing. You could change it up or go with a different color, or, just kind of change it out. Maybe it's something you just change out with the seasons again.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And that's a place where people also think like, oh yeah, I could just get the cheaper one, but the cheapy ones don't look good. Yeah. So if you don't have one at all and you can see the frame of your bed, I would consider adding one, because it really, really does make a difference. It's like, it's kind of one of those things like eyebrows. You're like, you don't really think about it. But then when it's not there, you're like, that's weird. There's something missing.
Well, but here's the thing too. Even if you have a bedspread like I do, where it doesn't show when the bed is made, you live there. You don't want to be seeing anything. You don't want to be seeing a metal frame when you're getting into bed, or stuff stored under your bed. So put something on there to make it look pretty for you getting into bed every night.
Right. Because we're back to the whole thing that it's a sanctuary for you. So yeah, it should be beautiful. So yeah, I would definitely, if you don't have one, add one. And if you've had one on there forever, and I think Anita she's got a great point there. It's oftentimes the thing. You might think of new sheets, you might think of decorative pillows, but maybe you don't think of that. It just sits there. It is a beast to change if you've got the kind where you have to slide it all under, and if you have a king like I do, and you have to take usually
it's a two-person job.
To call a friend.
But I always, yeah. I do it by myself.
The ones that can like Velcro on or things like that. So there's other options.
There's so many new ones like that. And it's interesting because some of these newer ones, you don't need to know the drop of your bed, because every mattress is a little different height, and every foundation and the legs on the bed. So it's hard to get that length exactly right. But a lot of these kind of attach on the outside now. So you don't really have to get that height exactly right. You can just kind of put it on, wherever you want it. And what I wanted to add here too is sometimes the bed doesn't look very luxurious because it's not very tall. And I've noticed that. And it's so easy to fix this if you can do a bed skirt. You just get those, they're plastic kind of little things to put the legs on, and you can get them whatever height you want. And then you just cover it up with your bedspread or your bed skirt. And then you can use that to make your bed a little bit taller.
Have you ever used those?
No. Well, you know what? I think I did use those at our old house before I got a new headboard. And I think I did. I'm trying to remember now. It was a while back. But it's a great thing to use if you need it.
No, it's really smart. And, I know it's not really feng shui and all of that to have stuff under your bed. But, the reality is sometimes you have to have stuff under your bed because you don't have other storage. So that gives you a place to do that in a more comfortable way than kind of stuffing everything under there. Good idea. Okay, let's look up for a second. How about a ceiling treatment? Again, particularly in a bedroom that's just a square room. And when you're laying on the bed, you might be looking up sometimes. So do something interesting on the ceiling. I have that paneling that I just couldn't stop doing, the wooden paneling on my bedroom ceiling. And we have it in several other places in the house. And it has added such interest there. I painted it the solid opaque white in most of the other rooms, but in the bedroom, I decided to do a whitewash, and it's really, really pretty. It just adds another dimension. Doing that on the ceiling made such a difference. You could wallpaper the ceiling. You could paint it a different color. You could do the paneling. You could put up adhesive wallpaper that you could change. You could texture it a different way. There's lots of things that you could do to the ceiling to make it an interesting part of the room and really add a unique touch to it.
I think that's a great idea. And for a room that is small that you really can't do much else to, that's a fabulous way to add interest. And, you're probably going to look up more often because there isn't as much else to see in the room. I think that's a great idea. And another idea, if you have more space to work with, is to put a bench at the foot of the bed. It adds some beauty to the room. That's a place where you can put the pillows when you're in bed. It's a place to sit, to put your shoes on, and it just looks pretty when you're looking at the bed. So that's certainly something I try to do a lot when I'm working on a bedroom.
Now, I was able to add a bench. Now, it is a short bench. I wasn't sure that I was going to like it. It's definitely more bench than, it's not an ottoman. It would be too tall for that. Like if you were sitting on a chair using it, your legs would be elevated. So it's definitely more of a bench. I bought it at a yard sale or estate sale. I love it. It's metal in the bottom and it's white fur on the top. And for whatever reason, there were two of them still with the tags on them. So maybe the woman who had the estate sale bought them and then decided they weren't for her. So they're in perfect condition. So I could not pass it up.
Did you have two or just one?
Of course I wished I had bought two of them, because then I got home and my daughter was like, I love that. And I was like, this is mine. So, I should have bought two of them, since it was like $15 or something like that.
Oh, stop it.
I know. I should have bought two of them, but I thought, getting them in my car.
Because then you can just give it to a friend if you don't end up using it for $15.
Give it to a friend. I wonder who she's talking about, you guys.
I'm too far away. I'm not talking about me. If I lived close, of course, I would say, why would you not get it?
I should have bought both of them. It was one of those things where you regret it the minute you pull away.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I just have to be grateful I got the one. And I said, well, I think too, because I wasn't sure if it was going to work. And I was like, if it doesn't work in my room, I can put it somewhere else. And I didn't want to be like, if neither one of them work, and then I have to find two places for them. So don't think you have to get a really long bench, because the bench at the end of the bed really is nice, particularly if you don't have a footboard on your bed. A chair is a great thing. Even the most petite little chair, even if it's not an upholstery chair, although upholstery chair is very nice for a bedroom, it's just a place where you can bring in more texture and bring in more color.
Yeah. And, at the foot of the bed too, if you don't want a bench, you could put a basket there. I've done that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Or a trunk. I mean, just something, it's great to have that extra storage there.
Yeah. Just to round up, if you were going to do a bedroom refresh on a budget, 3 new pillows. So those 2 squares and the lumbar, something folded at the bottom of the bed, could just be a big throw, a quilt that matches and coordinates with those pillows, a vase of flowers, and or a plant. I mean, really, if that's all you have the time or the resources or the energy to do that, and you will completely change your room.
Oh, great tip. And another thing that you can do, doesn't cost a thing, rearrange your furniture in the room.
Oh, yeah.
And, one thing that I have done is to put a bed on a diagonal. And that's kind of a fun look. So you might try that. And it sounds weird, but you might like it in your room. Just try it and see if you like it. Get the sliders, move your furniture around. If you don't like it, you can put everything back the way it was.
That's a good one. Yeah. So Anita, what's the DTT divine for today?
One of my favorite things, a bergere chair.
Oh, I do love those chairs.
I know, they're so pretty. And, we think of them as kind of a beautiful chair, but maybe not the most comfortable chair in the room. But ironically, when they were first invented or designed, this was the most comfortable chair in the room. They were originally designed in the 18th century, and they were designed to be the most comfortable chair, so they were for more extended lounging and not just for a meal. They have an upholstered back, a seat frame, armrests, a loose cushion, and exposed frames. But it's definitely a French chair. There are 3 types. That was news to me. I didn't know that. There's the bergere à la reine, which has a square back and typically straight legs. Then there's the bergere in gabarit, which has the rounded back, and it's a little bit a lower back, and it has lower arms. And then there's the bergere marquise, which has the low curved back and seamlessly connects to the arms.
Oh, I have to go downstairs and look. I definitely don't have straight legs.
Yeah, I'm looking at a bergere chair in my room right now. So yeah, there's definitely different styles, and this is kind of a description for, there's several that fit into this category. So it's kind of a broad range of styles, but it's all French, but there's actually several different looks you can have. Thus the 3 types. So there you go.
Very interesting. BritBox just keeps getting better. The new Archie is amazing. And it's not the comics. It's about Cary Grant. Archie is the brand new limited series starring Jason Isaacs as Archie Leach, the man who became Cary Grant. From the award-winning screenwriter of Philomena, Archie tells Grant's born in Britain, made in Hollywood story, the dramatic grit to glamour transformation that led him to become one of the most famous people in the world. You are going to absolutely love the acting, but also the styling, the outfits, the scenery. It's the first time his story has been told in collaboration with his daughter Jennifer Grant and ex-wife Diane Cannon. The performances from Jason Isaacs and the rest of the cast are amazing, and it's only available on BritBox. So sign up for BritBox today to stream Archie and other fan favorites from any device. And we have a special limited time offer for our U.S. and Canadian listeners. Get 50% off, yes, that's 50% off your first month when you sign up for a monthly plan. But only if you go to BritBox.com and use our promotion code DTT at checkout. You're going to love Archie. So head over right now and get 50% off your first month of BritBox. Use the promotion code DTT at BritBox.com. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months.
So what is your crush?
My crush is a book. I love this author. I discovered her a couple of months ago, and I have already shared her as a crush once before for her first book that I knew of, A 3-Dog Life, a memoir. The author is Abigail Thomas, and I just felt like I made a friend and loved walking around listening to her. I was listening to it on Audible. I also bought a copy of the book. That's how good it is. I just wanted to have it in my hands, and I know I will be going back to read that one again. But now I am listening to Abigail Thomas's What Comes Next and How to Like It. It's just wonderful writing. And I think if you give Abigail Thomas a try, you'll find that you have made a new friend too.
Do you want to guess what mine is?
Food.
So this one is a chocolate bourbon
You got to
pecan
get your head
pie.
out of the pantry, lady.
I love cooking. Chocolate bourbon pecan pie. It's delicious.
Ooh,
Not
man.
healthy, and it's not healthy. See?
Oh, good. You can have some fun with this one.
Yeah, so I'll include the link to the particular recipe I found, but we did make it, and it was delicious.
Oh, it sounds delicious and very indulgent. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate it. And remember, we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.